Hey guys, finally getting our block of the month done. I'm so sorry. I've just been super busy. And so since I finished up that last quilt that I made that had the gazillion half square triangles in it, I've kind of lost my sojo and haven't been sewing. So anyway, but this is a busy time of year for my business. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time. My fingers look black. They're clean. I was dyeing wood and had holes in my gloves. And by the time I've dipped my hands in 6 different colors, they come out black. And I didn't know it, so then when I took my gloves off, I had black hands. Yeah, lovely. Anyway, so this is our block of the month for all seasons for October, which would be block 10. We are going to be making a pumpkin. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. And when I reread these instructions, I realized I cut some of my pieces a little bigger than they should be. But that's no big deal. I can just trim them down. So for the body of your pumpkin, few ways you can do this. You can strip piece it and cut it out of that. I'm going to use 4 charm squares and sew them together and then trim it down. You could use just one solid piece, 2 pieces. You know, the possibilities are endless as far as that goes. So what you need to end up with for your pumpkin block, the body of it, you need a 9.5 by 9.5 inch square. So whatever, you do. I'm going to use 4 charm squares, which will be pretty close for mine. And, we'll sew those together and whatever. Yeah. So you will also need a stem. So I'm using a green. You could use a brown, which most pumpkin stems are brown, I think. But anyway, I'm using green. It needs to be 2 inches by 2.5. Then for your background, you need 4 2.5 inch squares. 2 2.5 by 4 1/4 pieces, rectangles, 1 strip that is 1 3/4 by 9.5, and then 2 pieces that are 2 1/4 by 12 3/4. Hopefully I'll have some kind of oddball measurements there, but anyway, we are going to trim the block down. It's gonna end up making it just a little bigger than we need, but that's okay. It's forgiving that way, right? All right, so I need to sew the body of my pumpkin, so I've got I'm just going to make a 4 patch out of 2 of these fabrics I think are the same. I had some charm squares left over loose, and so I just thought these were all orange, and I thought, they'd make a cute little deal there. So let me bend you down here where you can see. All right, and like I said, I'm just going to make a 4 patch. Oops. Let me pick that one up. Oh, goodness. And now my chair's falling down to the bottom. Boy. Okay. I can't get this down. So I'm doing the 4 patch here. Alright, so it's going to be easy peasy just to do this. And like I said, you can do this anyway. You could get pretty creative, on this. You could do a square and a square. Yeah, just a lot of different options for the pumpkin body part. Okay, that one goes there. I didn't know if you guys would want to see me sew these together or not, but anyway, there it is. Okay, and then I'm going to open them up. Finger press that one that way. Just also, if you're piecing the body of your pumpkin, be sure you press it before you trim it. Because if it's not pressed, it could change the size of your block when you're done. So just press it and then trim it down. Okay. Yeah, it's just been crazy busy, right? This is just a busy time of year for my store. So I got my 4 patch all sewn up. So I'm going to bring it over here and press it. Okay, it's all pressed. So now we need to trim this down to 9.5 inches. Now this ruler is looks like a 10.5. It's a Creative Notions ruler. I got it in a subscription box. I'm not sure. I don't normally use one that looks like this, so I'm not sure if I'm going to like this or not. We're going to try it and see. So I'm just going to... Let's see, I probably need to trim a little off of each side. The way these lines are on this is... Man, this is really confusing for me. Let me get my other ruler, because this one's just, I don't know, the lines or something's not making sense to my brain. Okay, I got my big 12.5. This one makes way more sense to me for the lines and stuff. Or maybe I'm just used to using it. So, let's see, 9.5. Let me see how big this is so I know where to. It is 9 3/4 right now. So if I did an eighth over a half, or over a quarter of an inch would be 3/8. Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out how much I need to trim to make this center. So right there should be. Alright, let's go this way. I'm just going to trim all 4 sides. I was going to try to center, you know, all these as best as I could, which I guess it would be 4 1/4 from the center seam, wouldn't it? That would make more sense. But I already trimmed the one side, so yeah, we're going to go with it. So all right, so here we go. I really struggle with trimming stuff down unless it's pretty close, like if you need to center it or anything. I don't know why, but it is difficult for me. And it shouldn't be, but I don't know. I've already trimmed that side. Where am I going? Here we go. Okay. Yeesh. Jeez Louise, Dawn. Okay, now we can go 9.5 and 9.5. And it looks like we're there. Okay, good enough. All right. So that is there. So now we need to snowball our corners, all 4 corners with our squares. You can draw a line on these. You could use diagonal seam tape. I am going to just iron the line there right quick because that's just what's easiest for me. It's just funny, all the different techniques. I got kind of yelled at by some quilt police the other day for the way I did my half square triangles, and I was like, you know, but that's what makes sense to me. I get the same effect as you did. It's just what makes sense to me. So anyway, all right, no quilt police here. Let's finish this up. I'm gonna bring you around here, and we are going to snowball all of our corners. So just stick that on there. You can only sew it one way once it's on there. And so right along that line, just a little bit over to the right of it. Just so when you fold your fabric over, you know, you have an extra there. And let me get these sewn on here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and iron these before I trim it, just to make sure that everything matches like it's supposed to. Because I have been known to sew them on. And see, this one's real close, but I think it'll be alright. I don't know. I sew them exactly the same, but they don't turn out the same. So anyway, there's that. So then I'll just bring some scissors in here and we will trim off this extra. You could leave it, but it's just extra bulk that you don't need. And then, so now the body of our little pumpkin is done. And like I said, you can make vertical stripes, horizontal stripes, or turn your block horizontal, however you wanted to do it. You know, just whatever. You could get really creative with this. So that's the body of our pumpkin. So that is done. Okay, so the next thing you're going to need is your little stem piece and your 2 rectangles that are 4 1/4 inches long, not 4 1/2 like I originally cut them, but I did trim them down. And we're just going to sew one on each side of the stem piece to make our little stem. Now this, I've seen this done. You could, you know, if you like to applique, you could, you know, make a curved stem and then just make this piece a solid piece and then applique your stem on there so that you have that, you know, curved look on it, or so it looks, I don't know, more like a real pumpkin. I don't know, but however you wanted to do it. Like I said, there's several ways that you could get pretty creative with this. I think these would make such a cute little table runner. Just do 4 or 5 of them in a row. Okay, and I'm going to finger press this. I'm pressing mine to the dark fabric. Alright, so now there's our pumpkin stem. Okay, so the piece we made with our stem is actually our top border, so we're going to sew that onto the top of our block here. So just pick whichever side you want to be your top, or you know, however you have yours pieced and laid out that you want to be the top. And we're just going to stitch that on, 1/4 of an inch seam. I just realized something. When I sewed the squares together, the 4 charm packs, that should have come out to 9.5 by 9.5. But mine were a little larger. Of course, my seam allowance is a little scant anyway, but these also had those pinked edges. Because that's why I trimmed that little tiny bit off. Okay. I'm over here going, I knew that was, probably wouldn't need to trim it much. I don't know why I was trying to trim it when I didn't need to. Anyway, all right. So there's that. Now I'm going to go ahead and press mine. And I guess I'm going to press it up because that's kind of where it wants to go. Let me just give her a quick press. Okay. Now the skinny strip that we did, that's 1 3/4 by 9.5, is going to go on the bottom. So we're just going to sew that on. Just keep everything lined up. Don't stretch it if you can avoid it. So I'm just going to finger press this. I got this thing in the mail the other day. I don't know. It's called a magic seam wand. It's wooden. And, you know, it really presses these seams like way better than finger pressing. I like it. All right. So top, bottom. Now we need to sew the top 2 side pieces on. Now I did not have enough of this background fabric to make a whole 12 3/4 inch strip. So I sewed 2 pieces together to get the length that I need. So yeah, I've got a little extra seam in mine, but you know what, I'm not too worried about it. I kind of like it, so I'm gonna roll with it. It's a scrappy block anyway, and if they want to come after me for having a seam in my little border here, they can just do what they got to do, right? It is what it is. All right. Okay, and then we're going to sew this other one on. I love this background fabric. It's just like a cream. It's kind of a tonal cream and cream. And I've been saving these little scraps of it forever for something. I don't know what, but it's going in this block. Oh, sorry about the bird. She's in the living room. She's a new one here, and she can get loud sometimes. Okie dokie. So we're going to press that open. I'm going to use my little deal here because I will give it a final press. And since I'm so crappy about telling y'all how to square up, and I'm probably pretty sure I don't do it like it ought to be done, I'm just going to let y'all square your block how you want to. I will square this after the video. But here is our pumpkin. How cute is that? That is so cute. So I'll get mine pressed and squared. It needs to square to 12.5 inches. Unfinished, 12 inches finished. However you like to say that. And yeah, so there we go. Block 10. I will see you in November for block 11. We're almost finished. Yay. Yeah, we'll go from there. All right. Have a great day, guys.